The Internet is busy. There are, on average, 6.25 billion searches per day, 260 million per hour, with Google controlling 80% of the market. Google auctions 43 billion ads per day, with 8 AdWords per search, positioned by the amount the bidder pays for advertising. Website developers make 3 assumptions. 1. Invalid code is not important. 2. Invalid code has no impact on interoperability. And 3. Invalid code does not impact website statistics. These assumptions are incorrect. Here's why. Today, the Internet is a far more complicated place than it was 20 years ago. There are over 5 major browsers supporting over 140 versions of their software. And in addition to source code validation, all code should be cross-browser tested for best access to your content. Today, there are over 200 million active web pages. Google auctions over 500,000 ads per second to over 5 billion users per day in over 60 different languages, with access to over 2 billion people, if your code is valid. The World Wide Web Consortium, developed by Sir Tim Berners-Lee while at CERN in 1990, ran HTML and CSS source code on the first object-oriented programming PC, the next step, developed by Steve Jobs. The W3C also developed validation tools to ensure interoperability for clients served. I launched a web page that served invalid code for 8 out of the last 10 months and compared the website statistics before and after validation to determine the impact of serving valid code, and the results are enclosed. My website has 212 lines of code for W3C validation. There are 35 errors and 25 warnings. I consulted professors and website developers and was advised that semantic errors and warnings do not affect website statistics and are not worth the effort to correct. The W3C Unified Validator tests HTML, CSS, mobile, and feeds, the components of interoperability in one test, to determine if your code is valid or not. The website now serves valid HTML and CSS code without changing the content. Therefore, the impact of serving valid code is attributed to editing 5 HTML errors and 25 CSS warnings. The Unified Validator indicates green when HTML and CSS code is valid. Observe and compare the website statistics from this point in time to understand the impact of serving valid HTML and CSS code. Here are the basics about website statistics. Today, there are over 200 million active web pages, 5 major browsers serving 140 versions of their software, if the code is valid. Let's observe the server statistics before and after validation to determine the impact of serving invalid code. The results speak for themselves. Let's compare the website statistics as charts, starting with hits, visits to the website. The increase was 465%. Files increased 986%. Pages increased 1,621%, indicating the number of unique pages that were downloaded to client browsers. Perhaps the most dramatic increase was in the data that was transmitted. As you can see, August and September's, indicating that valid code has a significant impact on access, discovery, and stickiness. sites are the unique visits to the website. And as you can see, there was an increase due to serving valid code, but not as dramatic of an increase as the effects of correcting the HTML had on the website statistics. Finally, visits are those URLs that visit the website from the unique sites. And as you can see, again, we have done nothing to change the content of the web page, but we have had an increase in visits to the website. So here's the bottom line. We increased hits 465%, files 986%, pages 1,621%, visits 63%, and unique visits 57%. And confirming that, we downloaded 370% more data in the since validation than we did before. Validation matters. Here's the bottom line. The assumptions that invalid code does not matter are incorrect. As you can see from my experiment, the website has been active for 296 days, served invalid code for 243, and valid for 53, doubling the traffic to the website without changing the content. Validation matters.